How we doing, everybody? Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer. We've got your game preview, Week 17 version of the Bears and the Giants at Soldier Field. Unfortunately, not today at the PNC Studios at Hallis Hall, but we are going to break it down with two teams struggling all season long. The Giants at 4-11, coming off a rough one in Philadelphia. And the Bears, Big Tom, a dramatic 25-24 win. I loved how it was portrayed by the papers and the media. St. Nick on a post-Christmas Day miracle win, and it was wonderful.
St. Nick delivered a lot of presents. When you look at how many offensive players touched the football and how frequently they touched it, he really did a nice job of incorporating everybody. One thing about Seattle, and I think it created to some of their defensive confusion, they weren't able just to eliminate one person to take them out of the offense and make the offense look dysfunctional. Nick did a really nice job of distributing the ball to everybody. Bill Lazor included everybody in the running game, from David Montgomery to the big touchdown run of Khalil Herbert. It was an exciting, interesting offensive performance.
Well, the catch by Damiere Byrd, fantastic. You've seen the still shots of it. It's something that will be in every NFL review for the entire 2021 season. Dramatic, hand in the air, ball in it, not moving. Two or three guys on his back right there before the end line. Just tremendous concentration and a target throw by Nick.
I'm kind of surprised that the Seattle defensive players did not push him out of the back of the end zone, number one. Then I was interested to see how well organized he was in order to enable to get his feet back into the field to play, because when you look at where he caught the ball, how difficult of a catch it was, and how much momentum he was carrying, it was, like you said, it's going to be shown for quite a while in the results of it.
There was, sir, a lot of fight in this team, and that has been the case here the last couple of weeks. They played hard for Matt Nagy, and I think nothing more than the Darnell Mooney 30-yard catch and run. Should have been tackled 3 or 4 times, and in the end, could have busted it and taken it to the house anyway. We're talking about a 179-pound wide receiver that was shedding tacklers like he was Marshawn Lynch.
You know, I think that's the thing about Darnell Mooney that's impressed me the most since he's come aboard the Chicago Bears, is his creativity with his feet after the catch. He's got great hands. He understands all the routes that he has to run. But when he gets the ball into his hands, whether it's a screen at the line of scrimmage he converts to a touchdown, or a big catch like that he fights through tacklers that may have 20 pounds on him.
Well, I appreciate the efforts of all these young guys. Khalil Herbert, 20-yard touchdown. Things to build on here. Also, Thomas Graham gives up that first touchdown, press coverage, big task with a 4.33. DK Metcalf, who's got the size and speed to beat a lot of cornerbacks in this league, but then comes back and fights through the game, makes some key tackles, had some pass breakups. That secondary, I think Sean Desai has learned a heck of a lot about the depth in his secondary. Individually, these guys are being put in various positions. Unfortunately, Tease Tabor goes on injured reserve for the rest of the year. But with Jalen Johnson coming back, and now Kendall Vildor had a nice couple of games. You have Thomas Graham, you have Duke Shelley, you've got guys like Marquis Christian, Eddie Jackson back. The secondary has a lot of different variety to choose from based on what you want to call and where you want to match up.
Yeah, you're right. And I was surprised after the showing that Graham had with 60 snaps in the Minnesota Vikings that they did decide to start the game with Artie Burns. But I really believe it's kind of a nice 1-2 punch over there in the corner, because Artie Burns came up and met a receiver at the line of scrimmage for a tackle for no gain. That was a heck of an impressive effort. So maybe when they incorporate more people into the mix, they encourage each other, but they're allowed to play fresher and more physical throughout the game.
Of course, we got Robert Quinn. Our guy is nipping at the heels now of Richard Dent, your old teammate. One more sack, he'll set the single-season record, and he will do it in a 16-game season if he can get it against the Giants. The Giants' offensive line is in flux right now. They've got a left tackle, Andrew Thomas, who last year struggled as a rookie, a top pick out of Georgia, but he's really settling in. He's having a nice year. But I think this is a game where Robert Quinn could make a major difference again.
So do I. And it's going to be interesting. Are they going to have a super inexperienced quarterback like Fromm, or a long and lanky, slow quarterback like Glennon? I mean, that's a defensive end's, dream to play against when you're trying to set a record. But, what you think about what this team had a couple of years ago in Saquon Barkley and what a threat he was out of the backfield carrying the football. And he's been interrupted now with a couple of, an injury season and such. So I do think that Sean Desai uses creativity, uses distribution of talent along the defensive line, Bring those defensive backs up near the line of scrimmage. Let Roquan continue to play in the fashion he's playing. And I think the defense can come here and have a performance that the home crowd can really appreciate.
Giants are a 1-7 team on the road. They've averaged 10 points or less in 4 of the last 6 games. Freddie Kitchens, Tom, is their offensive coordinator now after the in-season dismissal of Jason Garrett. But in his 5 games, they still are not moving the football. And again, that always goes back to what's going on with the offensive line of the quarterback position. But they do have weapons. Barkley, you got to still consider a weapon. Devontae Booker, you got to still consider him a weapon. Kenny Golladay, that's a weapon, but he has less than 500 yards this year. And the tight end position, Evan Engram is a matchup nightmare for anybody. And an outstanding player. Does he play to his potential all the time? No. And then you've got the veteran Kyle Rudolph. So there's plenty to worry about for the Bears defense.
It's difficult trying to formulate a plan if you're a brand new offensive coordinator after the first one is fired and you have a revolving door at the quarterback position. But to me, I have to look at it as a Bears fan. I think this is something that Sean Desai can capitalize on. Try to make the instant at the line of scrimmage super confusing for him and make either of these quarterbacks trying to escape immediately or think with personnel distribution. So again, I'm going back. I think this has an opportunity for one of the better performances by the defense. We talked about the sacks that they're able to get. It would be nice to see him contribute with a couple of interceptions because they did have their hands on a couple in Seattle, weren't able to control them. So let's capitalize on it. Give the offense a couple more possessions that they didn't expect.
Teams have been able to run the ball, but you don't want to run it right at the big guys up front. What will the Bears look at in terms of David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, Damian Williams, and whoever starts at quarterback if it's Justin Fields able to get back this week with that ankle injury? Because, you know, we got some names there. Dexter Lawrence, outstanding at his position, a dominant run defender, and Leonard Williams, an outstanding all-around defender up front.
This guy, he's got the athleticism, the size, the strength to be able to dominate up front. So I think it'll be a good battle there for Cody and Sam Mustipher and James Daniels. But because we don't know a lot about the tackle position in terms of injuries, who's playing where and what, I think it's going to be an interesting battle to watch up front.
And the safety position, keep an eye on because that's where they've turned the ball over. Xavier McKinney, a second-year player, I should say, out of Alabama, has 5 interceptions, but he's a guy to watch. And Logan Ryan, an outstanding safety, certainly from that New England history there. You know, he knows how to play that position, a tough-minded player. So those are 2 guys the Bears quarterbacks have to keep an eye on at the safety position.
That's why Bill Lazor's got to keep them guessing. When you are able to incorporate so many different targets by Nick Foles, I think it makes it more difficult for the safety position to just set in one place and kind of anticipate where the ball's going to go with consistency. If you're able to incorporate all the different types of weapons they have, both from the backfield and from the line of scrimmage downfield, you're going to make those defenders, those safeties, stay at a responsible decision on the back end and maybe take advantage to the underneath process of the passing game.
Well, it adds up to an interesting matchup for the Bears and Giants at Soldier Field, a game the Bears should feel good about as they get ready to try and win their 6th game of the year. We'll have it for you starting with a 9 a.m. pregame noon kickoff on News Radio 105.9 WBBM. Make sure you check us out. And hope you enjoyed our preview. With Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll talk to you next time.